The skies are getting crowded, and Washington may not be ready. Senator Jacky Rosen just cornered the FAA with a question they weren't prepared to answer, and what it reveals could affect every flight, every drone, and every American.
Senator Rosen.
Well, thank you, Chairman Moran, Ranking Member Duckworth, and thank you, Senator Kim. I appreciate it. And this is a perfect segue because I want to build on what Senator Capito was talking about in our workforce pipeline, because we have a military to commercial aviation workforce pipeline that I think we should be potentiating. So I'm going to talk about how can we make it easier for people with military aviation backgrounds, including those with training comparable to air traffic controllers, to enter the commercial aviation workforce. You know, Nevada plays a major role in national security and aerospace sector. We're home to Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada Test and Training Range, Creech Air Force Base, and Fallon Naval Air Station, numerous other equities engaged in aviation. Nellis is 7 miles northeast of Las Vegas, which covers more than 14,000 acres, and its ranges provide 15,000 square miles of uninterrupted airspace for flying operations. An estimated 12,000 military and civilian personnel work at Nellis, making it one of the largest employers in southern Nevada. So Administrator Bedford, while individuals working as military air traffic controllers may be able to bypass some portions of FAA's ATC certification process to become civilian controllers, they would still need to undergo additional training. So can we talk about how we might leverage this pipeline? You have people who've really been in the mix of some very heavy training and lots of good experience. How can we break the barriers down to bring them into the commercial workforce?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator Rosen. As you may be aware, many of our controllers do come from a military background. In fact, our chief operating officer is a former Navy guy. So we welcome that experience. We welcome that discipline to join our team. If there are barriers of entry, I'll confess I'm not sure what they are, but I'd be happy to work with you.
Perhaps you can report back to this committee, because our veterans, our veterans really want to be able to do this, and so maybe you can take a look at it. Come work with our team to talk about the barriers. We can talk with some of our folks at Nellis and see what they're thinking as well, because I think we're missing out on a really great opportunity for our veterans to come into really important jobs in airline safety and aviation safety. They've been doing it for our men and women in uniform, and there's no reason that they can't take that pride of ownership and continue to do that for the rest of the country. So we can work on that offline. I also want to talk about non-traditional air vehicles, because as you're aware, the national airspace, it's becoming increasingly complex and crowded. More aircrafts take to the skies, drones, electric vehicle takeoff, vertical takeoff and landing, other advanced vehicles. We're going to really need that nimble, efficient, and responsive FAA that's prepared and trained to deal with the ongoing technological advances that are occurring daily in the aviation industry. So we talked about workforce as far as air traffic controllers, but how are you going to ensure that the FAA has a robust workforce overall, the technical capacity, the institutional focus needed to help the aviation industry stay on the cutting edge of innovation, being a global leader, and ensuring that safety?
Wow, thank you for that. That's a lot in there.
It's a lot, but there's a lot going on. Every day there's a new kind of drone, a new kind of thing happening in the commercial space, and so how do you respond to that? How are you going to bring people up to deal with that, and even look forward to keep our airspaces safe? That's really the end game here, right?
Well, you're probably aware that President Trump has issued numerous EOs to unlock drone dominance, to create EIPP.
So where are we going to get the workforce to be sure everything's safe?
Well, it's a great question. So the workforce tools do need to modernize, and that's part of what you're going to get both in the $12.5 billion One Big Beautiful Bill and in what we would hope for is additional funding to complete modernization, where we can operate in a strategic versus a tactical manner.
So who do you think to that regard, if we get the money, but who's going to set forth, even if we have commercial companies doing some of the training, public-private partnerships, who's going to set the template or the requirements per se, that the standards, if you will, that these schools or training facilities need to work on, need to be thinking about? And this is what I'm actually asking you. You need to set those frameworks. I know I'm running out of time, but it's important to think about that, because the last thing we need is somebody delivering your package for Christmas and it is going to interfere with something else in the aviation space.
Well, I want to make sure most Americans understand through our BV loss rules, we are absolutely anticipating how we're deconflicting all of that airspace.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Jacky Rosen puts the FAA on the spot over a growing crisis hiding in plain sight. America's airspace is rapidly filling up with drones, experimental aircraft, and next-generation aviation tech, while the workforce meant to regulate it struggles to keep up. Rosen zeroes in on a glaring contradiction. The U.S. military trains some of the most elite air traffic controllers in the world, yet bureaucratic barriers still block many veterans from smoothly transitioning into civilian aviation roles. At the same time, the FAA admits it's racing to modernize while facing an explosion of drone activity and advanced air vehicles. The exchange exposes a deeper concern. Policy is moving slower than technology. As drones multiply and automation reshapes aviation, the question isn't just funding, it's leadership, standards, and preparedness. Rosen's pointed follow-ups force the FAA to confront whether it's truly ready to keep American airspace safe in an era of rapid innovation. This isn't theoretical. It's about safety, jobs for veterans, and whether the federal government is building the systems needed before the skies become dangerously overcrowded.